believe will take them beyond Manchester United in the table on goal difference as Southampton try and bring it away here with Elyounoussi striding over the halfway line, pushes to the right-hand side. Walker-Peters is in support. This is around about 5 yards outside the box. Sees the run of Elyounoussi, couldn't play it back to him, and West Ham United clear to the halfway line right-hand side where Ings works it round the corner. Doesn't find his man, he closes down, closes in on the attempted clearance. May well have blocked Perraud's clearance with his hand, but it's out of play anyway for a throw.
It is, and I can't help but feel that Danny Ings this afternoon, the former Southampton player, the Southampton fan, may have a big say on today's game. He's not started too well, but he's an out-and-out goal scorer, known for scoring plenty at this level, and West Ham will be looking for him to open the scoring here this afternoon.
Very important goal coming up in the WSL. Arsenal against Manchester City. Here's Flo Pollak.
Arsenal take the lead. Arsenal 2, Manchester City 1. Katie McKay picked it up from a short corner, drove into the box and fired it into the top corner. Big goal. Arsenal 2, Man City 1.
They'd level Bunny Shaw's first half goal through Frida Marnham. At the moment, Manchester United top of the table with 41 points. Man City have 38, Chelsea 37 and Arsenal 35. It is one that Arsenal needed to win a little bit later on. Chelsea go to Villa at 6:45 in the evening. Now, Southampton have it with Elyounoussi. Pushes to the edge of the penalty area. Looking there for Mara, and it's cleared away by West Ham United. There's a steady, not frenetic pace to the opening exchanges. As Bowen goes in with a challenge on Perraud's had a decent season with Southampton down the left-hand side. In comes Kira with a block challenge, and it fizzes through. It's a little bit higgledy-piggledy at the moment, Glenn.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I think Southampton are the ones that are trying to get their foot on the ball and dictate play, and West Ham haven't burst out onto the field like I thought they would. They're sat back, they're waiting to get the ball back off Southampton, and there was just a little air of uncertainty from the crowd there, a rising noise of maybe a little bit of unhappiness with how they've started the game so far.
Yeah, there's a ball down the far side from us. That's the left by Soucek. It went out of play. It was tight to the line. Benrahma was over there. Went out of play for a throw-in. And the West Ham United fans in the sunshine on the far side from us groaned, around about 15,000 of them with that. Tensions are running high here. There's all sorts of speculation about David Moyes' job. Does he have to win this to stay in a job? Very difficult for a manager and his players to deal with that sort of speculation. And Glenn, although they'll say it doesn't get through to the dressing room and the players, you'll know very well it does.
Yes, it does get through. Regardless of the manager's situation, the players, they'll be hurt and they won't want to be in the situation they're in. Like we questioned one of the other teams around the relegation zone. And it is embarrassing, especially for a group like West Ham. Everyone says it, they're too good to be in this situation, but at the end of the day, the league doesn't lie.
I must admit, in that last in the last hour of the programme, we were talking to Rob Leadenoff, make me feel old. I remember commentating on Rob when he was starting his career at Charlton, and I've commentated on both of his boys playing as well. So here is Ward-Prowse now for Southampton, away towards that far side. And it was Armstrong rather, away towards the far side, and there's a run up from the back by Walcott, right hand side of the penalty. Tried to tuck it in, and it's picked up by Lucas Fabianski. Back in the West Ham United goal for Areola. Will that make much of a difference for them?
Probably familiarity, definitely experience. He's been in this position before. I think probably Zuma will be comfortable with him behind him, and I'm sure he'll be shouting a lot and organising his defence, maybe more so than Areola, but rightfully got his place back after injury.
Lovely ball by Rice out to the right-hand touchline for Kira for West Ham United. And Ben Johnson has been playing on the right, but has lost confidence of late. Who played for the under-21s recently, and that'll do him well. And his relative, Paul Parker, actually is sitting around about 10 feet to our left-hand side. He was working for BBC Radio London. It's cleared away by the West Ham United goalkeeper. Fabianski's son comes out again. 0-0 on 5 Live from the BBC with 7 minutes played. And that's a free kick here as Soucek goes down. Now, he's a player that hasn't hit the heights of last season, really.
Yes, that is true. Obviously a goal-scoring midfielder we've got used to in the Premier League, but can't help but feel as though he was almost overachieving with the amount of goals he was scoring with his late runs into the box, and this season it's just plateaued a little bit, and unfortunately for West Ham they haven't been able to fill that void of the goals that he did score.
Well, David Moyes could do with more. He's only got a couple. Declan Rice has got a couple. Paqueta's only got a couple. Benrahma 3. But here come West Ham down that left-hand side, pulled into the middle, looking for the run of Soucek, cleared away. Emerson back into the box. It's not yet away, but it'll be a goal kick. None of the West Ham United attacking players could attack that ball because they would have been offside. Emerson being one, and through the middle for them, Danny Ings being the second. David Moyes looking on. It's a massive month for them, Glenn. 9 games in April. They've got the 2 Europa League games against the conference games against Ghent in there. They've got Arsenal at home. They've got, massive games up and coming.
Yeah, there's one that I look at in that group of fixtures there, and it's Bournemouth away. It's another one of this afternoon's fixtures, a huge game against a relegation candidate, and one that if you don't win it, you can't afford to lose it.
A little bit of momentum for Gary O'Neill's side. A little bit of momentum down there as well for Southampton of late. Leicester City look flat at the moment, but at this stage of the season, 1 win could change it all.
And I think that shows if West Ham win today, they can jump 5 places. It's a fragile 5 places, but it looks much better than the current predicament they're in.
Also made me smile when Rob Lee was talking about leaders for a relegation battle. I'll tell you that in a moment. Here's Walker-Peters for Southampton, far side, then 4 yards in from that right-hand touch, and long way away from us on that far side of the pitch. Lavia into Elyounoussi. He's coming in off the left-hand side for Southampton quite often. Now back to Perrault, attacking the West Ham United penalty just outside the box. Armstrong lays it wide. Walker-Peters had a little bit of room to get across it and then stumbled, lost his footing, and it's away for West Ham United. I think it was Benrahma all the way back there who cleared his lines.
Yeah, it was well worked by Southampton. That got down the right-hand side, and I thought Walker-Peters was going to put it over first time. He decided no, he tried to chop back and just fumbled a little bit, and the chance had slipped away.
Just to give you a sense of the commentary, the five-line commentary position here, if this was a cricket square and we were the facing batsman, should we hit a 6 out towards the far left-hand corner flag, it would be one of the most enormous 6s you'd have ever seen in cricket. If you have a golf shot, what is that?
It would be more like a 12, would it not?
That's a good 5-iron, isn't it? Away towards that far corner flag.
It's a driver. It depends how good you are, I suppose.
Sometimes I can make the women's tee, but you have to actually, don't you, if you go for the code of golf, otherwise it gets rather embarrassing. Now here's Ward-Prowse for Walker-Peters on that right-hand side. Golfers will know what I mean. Now Armstrong down the right for Southampton. Again, a dangerous run taking on Emerson. And they need to double up on him, and they do. And it was Paqueta back there. And West Ham United clear. A little step over by Ings, nearly brings the ball back to Paqueta. Now, when Rob was talking about characters to lead you away from a relegation area, WHUSOU will get it away here for Southampton. West Ham United had it when they were ever in problems. They had a player who'd go through a mud bath at Upton Park and come away with mud and blood dripping from his beard, by the name of Billy Bonds, one of the great characters to drive you on in the game of football. Do those sort of characters exist these days? You'll all have your views on that.
Do you know what, though, while you were just filling us in on Billy Bonds there, Southampton played a pass back to Gavin Bazunu.
Broken off, Glenn, because they had a promising attack again with Walcott. No end product.
Yes, they did, but Southampton passed it back to the goalkeeper, and Danny Ings made a 30-yard run, and it just lifted the crowd, just showing that desire to fight for your team, to close down. Even the fans fed off just something small like that, and sometimes it takes that just to lift the stadium. A big tackle, a good cross, closing down as a group, lifts the whole place.
It would be remiss of me not to mention the other WSL game, by the way. Everton 1, Tottenham 1 at the moment. Everton led through Sorensen, Sumanen levelling it up for Tottenham. Those goals in the first half. There's 5 minutes gone in the second in that game. Again, the Saints look dangerous here. Armstrong with a run to the edge of the penalty area, stopped absolutely dead by a Declan Rice block challenge to get it away. West Ham fans are getting edgy. Listen to them, Glenn. They're getting very edgy already.
Yeah, they are. And that'll feed onto the pitch to the players. Both sets of players, may I add. It'll feed to the West Ham players, but it'll also feed to the Southampton players. And they will know through that noise that they're doing something right.
To throw for Southampton on the right-hand side. They have picked up good results of late. The draw at Manchester United, the win at Chelsea, but then they were beaten at Leeds, lost at home to Grimsby in the FA Cup. I commentated on that game, and they were shocking. Grimsby played very well and very conservative, came out and got the 2 penalties, but Southampton were poor. Rice's pass for West Ham United on a slight angle to Kira, 2 yards in from the right-hand touch on a 5 live 0-0. Draws the pass back then to Kurt Zuma. He went to launch it out the right-hand side. It was blocked by Walcott, throw in Southampton.
I think a reflection of the first 15 minutes when I look at both teams, there just seems to be a little bit more sharpness and energy from Southampton. West Ham, even though they've had a good break, just look a little leggy.
And Southampton certainly looked the more confident side, more cohesive side. Here's Aguerd. His fitness is going to be absolutely massive for West Ham United. Good defender. We saw that in the World Cup, of course, with Morocco. And it's a West Ham United throw, despite the process of Stuart Armstrong, who has only started now 4 of their last 17 games. Competent player, Scottish international, played in the recent game against Cyprus. What a win that was for Scotland against Spain. Huge win. Now here's Fabianski. Just draws it away to Kurt Zuma, French international in his day, and back by Kira to his goalkeeper. Starting today for West Ham United, involved in those internationals, Aguerd and Emerson, Rice, Soucek, Paqueta. Tira Kera was involved with Germany. For Southampton, Lavia starting today, played in the international, so did Bednarak, Bazunu, Armstrong and Elianusi. Here's Zuma on the edge of his own penalty area. 14 minutes gone, no goals. Or 15 minutes gone, I should say, no goals. Rice has it only a couple of yards outside his own penalty area. West Ham United trying to play out from that very, very deep. Southampton pressing high and competently. And the clearance away out of play by Aguerd sells for a throw-in to Southampton, still inside the West Ham half. They cannot get out of their half of the field.
No, they can't. They're trying to play their way through Southampton, but there just seems to be a lack of options. They end up playing into a corner and having to go long and clear it out of play. And there's arms flailing in the air, and there just seems to be a lack of communication between the West Ham ranks.
Walker Peters on the right-hand side for Southampton. Tucked back by Armstrong. Then Walcott draws the ball back, almost central midfield, Ward-Prowse, but they're still well inside the West Ham United half at 0-0. Walker Peters crossing them. Walcott spins and shoots, and wide it goes.
Yes, he touched it with his right, swiveled with his left. It popped up from his first touch, and he tried to volley it from a standing start. Couldn't get much power, and was always likely to drag it wide of the target, and he did just that. Hits the standing pole, pinning the goal up behind.
34 now, Theo Walcott. Remember when he came through to England reckoning and went to the World Cup in 2006, didn't play. He was a boy then, really. Here he is at the other end of his career.
Plenty of life left in him.
Well, you played till you were about 52, didn't you?
I set myself up for that, didn't I?
We have breaking news for you on 5 Live. Leicester City Football Club has reached a mutual agreement with Brendan Rodgers that will see him leave the club after 4 years as the first team manager. We will give you more on that as we get it. Leicester City beaten at Crystal Palace yesterday and into the bottom 3 they go. Don't forget, you'll hear all the reaction to this game of the Football Daily podcast via BBC Sounds. While you're there, check out 5 Live Boxing with Steve Bunce. Get all the reaction to Anthony Joshua's fight from yesterday evening. Walker Peters now for Southampton down the right-hand side. It's everything here is in the West Ham half.
Yes, it is. Like we said, Southampton started the better of the two. They settled into the game in the opening 20 minutes. They've been far superior to West Ham, who have just had a lack of intensity. I mean, when you've got a game in these circumstances in front of your own fans, the very least you can do is burst onto the field with energy and get people off their seats, and they've done the exact opposite.
Wait confirmation on that breaking news for you, but if it is indeed so, Glenn, what's your reaction to that?
Well, listen, it's never nice to see a manager lose their job. Whenever someone's at the helm of a football club, they always try their very best, and they've had some good moments under Brendan Rodgers, and I just can't help but feel that the World Cup break came at the wrong time for Leicester City.
And other factors haven't helped. The global downturn in economy hit the owners of the club. The funding for new players has dried up. He's had to get on with what he's been given. It hasn't been easy for him. But that seems as if yesterday dropping into the bottom three has cost Brendan Rodgers his job. That is now up on Twitter, I see, and has been confirmed, I believe. Now, West Ham United have a throw. Don't get excited about this, because they are still 25 yards from their own dead ball line, and I don't think they've been 60 yards from their own dead ball line in the entire game so far with any sort of cohesion or any sort of threat, really. It comes bouncing back. They cannot get it up. They can't hold the ball up. It's away by Emerson in sort of can-can fashion. Paqueta tries to bring it down, and Bowen is smothered in a challenge. Rather cumbersome challenge it was as well by Ward-Prowse in there. So it's a free kick for West Ham.
Professional foul, no?
Yeah.
Stop and attack. That's the one thing that I think Southampton need to be aware of in this first half when they're so dominant in possession, is just getting caught cold on the back foot on a counter-attack with the West Ham players they've got in attack. They can certainly hurt you. They link 2 or 3 passes together in Benrahma, Paqueta and Bowen, and then Ings at the head of that sort of diamond. If you let them get into a floor, it could be devastating.
0-0, 19 minutes gone at the London Stadium. Ward-Prowse, another sort of inspirational leader, not old school. It's his 400th game for Southampton, and he's such a fine footballer. Southampton through and through, but of course from Portsmouth originally, deadly rivals down the coast. So he comes from, I think. Now Walcott for Southampton holds it up in support. It's Armstrong hugging that line, making the pitch big. Back to Walcott, trying to wriggle his way through, ran into Agad, and here's Declan Rice picking it up. Near his own penalty area, moves out towards the right-hand side, feeds Ings. There's a foul on him, and once again West Ham's attempt to get any sort of pattern together is stopped by a Southampton free kick.
And that seems to be part of the play that Ruben Sellers, the manager, has highlighted. Stop any quick attacks. But so far, when I look at the structure of both both teams, should I say, West Ham don't seem to be on the same page, and Southampton just to seem have all the right distances between each other. They seem to be fluid in what they're doing and the understanding of what they're trying to do, and so far it's working.
And Manchester City up next, Southampton. We'll be doing that game for Match of the Day next weekend, and then it's Crystal Palace at home. Big 6 points in the relegation battle. They've got Bournemouth at home, yet to come. They've got Forest away. Of the teams around them in the table, here's Lavia now for them. For Southampton, chunky midfielder with his red boots, and he finds Ward-Prowse and away towards this left-hand side, and it's poked forward then for Southampton, and back again to Ward-Prowse. And now Roman Lavia again to the edge of the penalty area, and Lucy trying to trick his way through in sort of leftish midfield position, but he is playing very narrow at times, and when he does so Mara comes out further to the left. West Ham will bypass. Listen to this, because they can't get out of their half. Listen to the boos.
They just want their team to go forward, don't they? That's where the frustration lies. When they do get their foot on the ball, they look up and they turn back out, go backwards, and this West Ham faithful don't like it one little bit.
Now they've got a chance now. So check to the Ings to the left-hand side. Once the ball played back to him, it's overpaced, and out comes Gavin Bazunu to gather on the edge of the Southampton penalty area, right-hand side. Rolls it into Chileta Tsar, and on it goes then to Romain Perraud, the French fullback.
Even though that came to nothing, the breaking lines pass from the back, and a feed through to Danny Ings behind the Southampton back four for him to run on to. Gavin Bazunu was first on the scene, but got rapturous applause from the West Ham fans, because it's what they want to see. Intent.
Good challenge by Paqueta on the touchline, right-hand side for West Ham. And finds Bowen, he's crunched. It was a mistimed challenge by Chileta Tsar. Bowen didn't have the ball under control, but it was beyond the Croatian defender who really crunched into him.
Yes, it was awkward, wasn't it, the big man? I think Bowen just gets a slight nick on this and puts it possibly through Caleta-Sar's legs, or he might just completely miss it altogether. Yes, both men miss it, and there's an awkward collision that Bowen's come off worst on, because Caleta-Sar was committed to the challenge.
Sent off against Newcastle in their ill-fated League Cup semi-final. He hasn't made an appearance in the league since the 21st of January.
And Grimsby, no?
I was there. I did the game. I can't remember.
Or did he just give a penalty away for the slap on the back?
Yeah. Oh no, he should have. Yeah, he might have gone, but I don't think he did he?
Can't remember.
That's terrible. I can't remember that. Anyway, here's a free kick for West Ham on the right-hand side, and it's curled in by Kira. Got a free header there, and they lead. West Ham United take the lead. Lovely cross again, alone, unmarked, heads beyond WHUSOU. Won't count, I don't think. Flag is up. This will go to VAR for offside.
Well, Gavin Bazunu looks very confident because he's placed the ball down, ready to take a free kick. And we're just going to see a replay here. And you know what? Southampton have been very brave with their line. They've stayed strong. There was a number of West Ham players offside, but we're just waiting to confirm if Agard was actually offside. I'm not sure he was, you know, but there was 3 or 4.
He seems to be coming out of the bunch where he might have been onside.
Yes.
I think Soucek is in an offside position.
Rice is in offside position. Ings is in offside position. Emerson's offside. But to me, from that angle there, it doesn't look like Agard is offside.
Well, the referee is waiting for the instruction. Paul Tierney from Peter Banks, the VAR. He stood next to the Southampton defenders there. Gavin Bazunu, as Glenn was saying, spotted the ball down, ready to get on with it.
And this is an agonising wait.
He's got a couple at the wrong end for West Ham this season. Now, if Agard, he hasn't scored for them.
Well, whether it's allowed or not, when he got onto the end of it, it was a brilliant controlled header into the back of the net to the left of Gavin Bazunu, cushioned it.
I think he's being played on there, Glenn.
Yes, I think he's played on, but it's whether the 4 West Ham players around him that are offside are interfering with play.
Well, it's difficult for us to tell here because the monitor is the smallest TV monitor in the history of the planet Earth. But it is your money, the BBC licence holders' money, that pays for these things. So I'm glad we're not squandering your money on a monitor that we can actually see. But checking disallowed goal, offside is the big message on the giant scoreboards. Into the 90th minute, by the way, in that WSL. Arsenal 2-1 up against Manchester City. And Everton 1-1 with Tottenham.
They're not sure at Stockley Park because they're zooming in, they're zooming out, they're getting close to the players. They cannot make a... They haven't even put a line on yet, have they?
No. From what we can see, unless they're giving it against Rice for being in offside position and blocking, or Paqueta or Soucek, for me, he's onside.
Danny Ings is about 4 yards offside. Does he block the run?
The defender's run, you mean, as he comes back?
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not playing the play through, are they? They're not playing the video. It's just the still at the moment that we're looking at with no lines on, so it's really, really difficult to tell. But this is becoming farcical. It's a long wait, but the main thing is that they come to the right decision, because this could be a vital goal in both sides' survival in the Premier League.
Well, the picture was frozen. The VAR picture we were seeing here was frozen. And it still is now. Oh, here come the lines. Eventually, this is taking far too long. This is ridiculous. And then we're seeing it shuttled forward. I think Agard's onside when he scores, but we'll wait and see. The message is now coming up. 14 on it. Tactic goal given. West Ham lead.
Yes, you can hear from the sound that West Ham goal has been given, and it's Agard, and they have another mini little celebration in front of their fans away to the right hand side of us, whilst the Southampton players are in a circle. I don't know whether they're composing themselves or what, but going back to the instance, it's quite a while ago now. Agard gets up really well. He's about 14 yards out and he just feels it back across. Gavin Bazunu into the goal. Fantastic header from the central defender.
Well, it seems a long time ago when he headed it in. David Moyes was seeing pictures of him celebrating when he got the nod that the goal had been given. And a massive one, his first since October 2021 when he netted in a Ligue 1 game for Rennes away at Troyes. A good player at Rennes, very good player at Rennes. He won a title back in North Africa with Rabat as Southampton try and find Sekou Mara on the left-hand side. It's not really working for them with him out wide left and Walcott to his right-hand side. They've had a lot of possession, but what have they created, Glenn? I mean, they had the Walcott one wide, but Fabianski's not had to make a save yet.
No, that would be the only part of Southampton's play that I would have a question about, really, is they've been in some really good positions and not created too much. But going back to the West Ham goal, what a time to get your first Premier League goal for Agard. I mean, such vital situation that they find themselves in, and already the play seems a little bit easier, doesn't it, Jonathan?
I think we've got full time at Arsenal Manchester City in the Super League. Here's Flo Pollock.
Arsenal 2, Manchester City 1. City took advantage of Arsenal's tired legs, scored early, but second half Arsenal refused to lose. Marnham scored from close range. 75 minutes, Katie McCabe scored a screamer. Arsenal up to second, full-time Arsenal 2, Man City 1.
And Southampton have just had a really good opportunity, and it's took a fine save by Fabianski to deny Perrault up from left-back, who drove it left-footed, low, hard, aimed to the far corner. Fabianski got down, stretched, pushed it away for a Saints corner.
That's a brilliant save, that, because it goes through Agard's legs. He's not far in front of Fabianski. He gets down low. A fantastic save.
Corner taken short, ballooned into the box by Ward-Prowse, comes back out. There's Perrault again with a drive, claiming handball there against the West Ham United player who went down in front of him and tried to smother it, but no free kick given. And West Ham United now have possession on the right-hand side with Ben Rama on 5 live. In comes the cross. Had to cover was Ward-Prowse. His header comes out to Paqueta. Pings a pass into Soucek. It's not yet away. And then Ben Rama tried to force it through to Bowen. All of a sudden it's not relaxed, but there is an easier feel about the London Stadium from West Ham United fans, but more importantly, their players are beginning to string passes together, Glenn.
Yeah, there's more of a buoyancy to their play, a bit more life in their passing, a little bit more speed in the passes forward. I mean, that has been the problem so far in the first half an hour of this game for West Ham, is finding forward passes, but a little bit more belief in their play after that goal, a bit more confidence.
Time to draw breath and reflect on the fact that's a very, very tight 4-team title race in the WSL. And Man United 41 points, and Man City and Arsenal 38, and Chelsea 37. They've yet to play. They play at Villa tonight. Here comes Southampton down the right-hand side with Walker-Peters. Again, he's made great strides into the West Ham half. Pulls it off to Walcott. Walcott back to Ward-Prowse. In comes his cross. Away by again at the back for West Ham United to the halfway line. Picked up there by Cheleta Sarr. The £8 million signing in the transfer window last summer from Marseille. Now Armstrong has switched to a more central position momentarily for Southampton. They try and burrow their way through, but it takes a good challenge for West Ham. You know, Soucek and Bowen combined to get the ball back for the home side. We drive forward down that left-hand side now into the Southampton half. The ball is released forward by Emerson. Emerson to the dead ball line, checks back. In front of him is Ward-Prowse. 3 claret and blue shirts in the penalty area. West Ham leading by a goal to nil. Low cross, bit of a dribbler though. No pace or power on the cross, and collected by Gavin Bazunu.
Yeah, it was. He just needed a West Ham player to be attacking that front post with some intent. But unfortunately, it took so long to get the ball in. I think they thought he was going to recycle the ball around the edge of the 18-yard box. He doesn't. He drops his shoulder, puts the ball in. No one reacts.
We will keep you up to date, by the way, as the afternoon unfolds at Wembley. Bolton Wanderers against Plymouth Argyle in the Papa John's Trophy final. 38,000 up from the West Country to see that. They beat Bolton at home 2-0 in the league. It was 0-0 away. Above them, a couple of places above them, aren't they, in the league on table? 3 places, I think it is, above them. But a proud day. Bolton Wanderers, of course, at one stage, Wembley Stadium. Not their second home, but they were there regularly. Here come West Ham United. Nice interchange between Emerson and Benrahma to the dead ball line. Benrahma's crossing the middle. It's forced away by Elyounoussi, back defending inside his own 6-yard area. Sort of got his flank on the ball to edge it away for a corner.
And all of a sudden West Ham are playing, and this is an extremely important time for Southampton. After playing so well in the opening of the game, they need to stay in it. They can't concede another would be a terrible first half, especially with the way they've played. They wouldn't deserve it, but West Ham wouldn't care.
Corner kick for West Ham United on their right-hand side. It will be taken by Jared Bowen, left-footed. Walcott, little hop at the near post, headed it away, and he sprints out to close down on the attempted second ball in by Bowen. Doesn't get there in time. It's a dangerous ball, and up goes WHUSOU to take it into the air under a little bit of pressure once again by Naif Aguet.
Yes, Agard's got the taste for it, hasn't he? Just springing that offside trap again, trying to get his head on it, but WHUSOU reads it, comes out and collects the ball quite comfortably.
Against goal after 25 minutes separates the sides. He actually scored it a week last Thursday, but it took that long for VAR to make the decision. Here's Armstrong. Just gets away from the Declan Rice challenge. Just stumbles after he gives a free kick.
Southampton have worked it well down, especially the right-hand side to Walker-Peters, and Walcott drifts out there, but when they get the ball, they look in the box and they haven't really got any physicality in there, especially when you've got Agard and Zuma sat in looking out. Just wonder what Ruben Sellers can do to change that.
It's a free kick to be taken by Ward-Prowse. The manager for Southampton watches out for the touchline away to our left-hand side, played in tight to Armstrong, tried to wriggle his way beyond Paqueta, who got a block challenge in. Now West Ham United can counter on their left with Benrahma. Sees a good run forward. Kera is the man furthest forward. Oh, his touch let him down. It's a lovely ball up to him, bounced, kicked up a little bit high, but his touch let him down. He went through to WHUSOU. Big chance.
Awful touch, wasn't it? Comes across, and all he needs to do is set himself on his first touch, and he gets a shot at goal one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Raises his foot, it comes off his shin and bounces about 15 yards in front of him, and Gavin WHUSOU collects very, very happily.
It was the touch of a man who has 8 goals in 232 career games. Here's Lavia for Southampton, back then towards Chileta Tsar. Saw a lot of him over the last few years playing for Marseille, and it always struck me that he wasn't the most secure of a defender through 90 minutes. Big, strong defender, 26 years of age, good age, and certainly aggressive enough and willing enough, but there was a mistake in him. There was a mistake in him, yeah, I agree with that. I think he gets it wrong at times. Elyounoussi for Southampton. His touch let him down. Runs through to Rice. Passes diagonally to the right-hand side. Bowen. Lovely ball caressed away to Emerson, who crosses the halfway line. He did not see this game turning out like this after the first 25 minutes when West Ham United simply couldn't get out of their half. They have possession now. Paqueta, 5 yards in from the right touchline, equidistant inside the Southampton half. They plays it back to Zuma, and across to his left-hand side is his centre-back partner, the dark-haired Aguet. They look for Benrahma, a little bit sloppy. Didn't anticipate the ball coming on. He was dispossessed, but as Southampton play it forward, Sekumara, his touch is all over the place. He looks to me as if he's absolutely devoid of confidence. He's only 20 years of age.
Yeah, he does. He's not the biggest physically. He was in a really good position there. Just lifts his foot to control the ball. Unfortunate for the young man, it runs right under it, but if he did get a touch on it, it'd have been one-on-one with Zuma, and he'd have asked questions of him, because I know he likes to get shots off.
Bowen, West Ham United attacking now on 5 right. They lead 1-0. It's Kera who's bundled his way into the box with a couple of lucky bounces. In comes a shot from Benrahma, curling, arcing, dipping, but over.
Yes, Kera bundled his way through towards the the Southampton 18-yard box. He spots Benrahma on the edge of the area, rolls a lovely weighted pass that the Benrahma can meet it first time. Tries to put a bit too much dip and swerve on it, looking for that top corner, and it just sails over the top of WHUSOU's goal. Results
so far for you in the Scottish Premiership: Ross County 0, Celtic 2. Celtic then restoring their 9-point gap at the top of the table. And in the WSL, Arsenal beat Manchester City 2-1, goes second. Everton 1-1 with Spurs with about 18 minutes to go in that game. 1-0 to West Ham United here in the Premier League, with Walker-Peters, right full-back then for Southampton, into Walker, coming away from the goal, fizzed it in to Mara. It came at him at an awkward height and at a fizzy sort of pace, but his touch once again lacked any sort of confidence or composure. This is a man who came from Bordeaux. He played 36 games at Bordeaux in 5 years, was a PSG academy boy, didn't make it there. He looks at the moment as if this is too big a thing for him.
Yes, on the afternoon I think he does. That just bounces off him, that ball there, doesn't it? And I think when the camera zoomed in on him, his mannerisms were very dour, low, seemed, like you say, void of confidence. But do you know what? It only takes one to go in off your knee and all of a sudden you seem like a player again. He'll feel like a player again. He just needs that little break, that little bit of luck to go his way, and so does Southampton.
Player brought for the future with his potential is Sekou Mara. They have brought in several players. They sort of changed their policy, Southampton, bringing in youngsters like Lavia, who's 19 years of age. They put him in from Manchester City for 10 million. A fair few players came from Manchester City last summer. Gavin Bazzuno, for example, the goalkeeper. He'd been at Man City 3 years, didn't make a first-team appearance, but they are buying for the future. They've remodeled.
Yeah, you can't help but feel if they can stay in the Premier League this year, this group will grow, and the only way is up for them, because there is a lot of talent in it. Just very young at the moment.
West Ham look for Bowen. Header was won by Chileta Tsar. Away it goes for a throw-in then to West Ham United. Right-hand side, and Thilo Kehrer will played in both of the recent German games. A little 5-minute run out against Peru, and then in the defeat against Belgium. It's a great result that for Belgium, by the way. 3-2 away from home. Declan Rice now for West Ham United. Plays it through, blocked by Lavia. Has a chance to get it away. Closed quickly by Paqueta. Went the other side of Lavia, went down, no free kick given. Then Paqueta stretched out a foot. Lavia flopped theatrically, no free kick given. Referee was well placed. That's a lovely symbol there by the referee, a little hand signal to suggest you flopped forward. West Ham United, Emerson has it on their left-hand side of the penalty, and comes across. And important deflection actually by Armstrong back defending, and it's thumped away. But West Ham United, having looked so insipid, now look fairly dangerous.
Yes, they do. Building momentum. Seem to be getting a lot of joy down that left-hand side, and in particular it's Emerson that keeps breaking the line. He's got in good positions on a number of occasions, just possibly the wrong decision or the wrong ball into the box, and not quite found a West Ham body there yet.
West Ham out possession inside their own half. It's Zuma. Zuma turns, looks out to the right-hand side, wearing gloves, customary for him. Pushed down the line by Kehrer, and there's a little nudge in the back of Bowen by Roman Perrault. And it's a free kick for West Ham United, virtually on the halfway line.
Yeah, it was a soft one there from Perrault. He had Bowen going back towards his own goal at quite a pace. There's no danger to him. Gives a soft free kick away. I'm sure Southampton manager, right at his feet, wouldn't be happy.
Fabianski now the West Ham United goalkeeper. An 8th clean sheet this season will mean that West Ham United have picked up 3 incredibly important points on 5 Live. They're 1-0 up with some 3 minutes to go before the half-time interview. But Mohamed Elyounoussi has it now for Southampton, down their left, gaining yards, scampers beyond Paqueta. Kehrer's only just got back at him. He's allowed to run a long way. His cross is pushed away by Fabianski, only to the edge of the penalty area. And the shot eventually was charged down. Well, Prowse's shot was charged down, and then Bowen is caught by a lunging challenge. Really poor challenge that. Racing out from the back for Southampton was Chileta Tsar, committed himself 70 yards upfield and careered into the challenge and gets himself a yellow.
Well, we were just chatting about him not long ago and his aggression, and we've seen it firsthand there. Ridiculous challenge. He was never getting to the ball. Decided to take the player because he was so far out of position. But you know what? He's a very, very lucky boy. He's just picked up a yellow card there on Bowen, and only a couple of minutes ago there was a collision with Bowen as well. It was awkward, and he could have picked up a yellow there. Lucky to still be on the pitch.
Certainly is. A lovely move actually by Southampton's Elyounoussi down the left-hand side moments before that, pushing Fabianski in to make the save. And he punched the cross away. Now Rice looks for the ball into the inside right channel to Ings, wide of him on the right-hand touchline. Soucek tries to get his way wide of Perrault, who forces out of play. West Ham lead by a goal to nil, and they'll take the throw in at their own leisure. I don't think here that Thilo Kehrer is going to be rushed into it, not in this position with a couple of minutes left in the first half. West Ham United fans keep walking down past us, giving us a smile as they take their positions up behind us. Reminds me of a story when I was commentating with the great late Bobby Moore at Upton Park. I'll tell you about that if we have a moment, half time. Maybe Crossy will allow me to have a moment. Here's Zuma away towards the far side. It's headed away by Walker-Peters, and it's collected there on their right by Armstrong. Goes over, looks to the referee plaintively. Just a throw for West Ham United. Try and steal a couple of yards with it. Ben Rama, basically we were commentating, Glenn, and a West Ham United fan behind us was swearing very loudly into the effects microphone, and very, very badly. And the producer said, "You've got to stop him swearing. You've got to stop it, Bobby. Stop him swearing." And Bobby turned around, had a look, and then comes back and says, "No, the 6'4" giant, shaven-headed, much-tattooed West Ham United fan can say exactly what he wants."
Well, I tend to agree with him.
It's played out to Chileta Sarr, and on the left full-back position, it's backed by Perrault. Chileta Sarr then switches it, big diagonal, 40-50 yards, drops down to Walker-Peters, still halfway inside his own half. Nice take, rolls it back then to Bednarak, takes the return. Good pressure on him though. Ben Rama's over there on the case, and Soucek too, and they're forcing Southampton back here as we edge towards the 45-minute mark, and West Ham leading 1-0, but they do get it away. Suspicion of a handball by El Enoussi. Southampton now can't get out of their half, and is forced forward by Paqueta, cleared. Paqueta will close on this near side, and he gets there a little bit late, but the referee says it's no free kick for the challenge on Perrault. What it is a Southampton throw in. Throw that we taken by Romain Perrault. The fourth officially showing there will be 3 minutes of stoppage time. Southampton very much still in the game, and I would imagine that their coach Ruben Celis will be telling them, just repeat what you did at the start of the half, and there's a way back into this game for you. Armstrong loses possession, centre circle, West Ham have it, back to Emerson, lengthening his stride, pushes the ball inside left channel, out by Soucek, to Ben Rama, into Danny Ings. Oh, he stepped over it, and it's looped back towards his own goal there by a Southampton defender, Chileta Sarr. It's over the bar for a corner, but it's offside against Danny Ings in the first place, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why Danny Ings decided to step over it. He knew he was just slightly offside, just strayed a little bit early with his run. He's usually so good at timing that run. This time he steps over it, knowing that there's no one really beyond him. Chileta Sarr nearly put in his own goal.
Southampton take the free kick for offside. Here is Touché Chileta Sarr, and Ward-Prowse tucks the ball back then towards Romeo Lavia. Hard-working midfielder. Only a couple of appearances he played for Manchester City before they sold him off. That's where he learned his game though under Pep Guardiola. That's out of play. Throw to West Ham on the far side, and it'll be taken by Emerson. Rice into his own penalty area, back to him by Aguerd, changes feet left to right, chops the clearance up. Soucek jumps in the air, misses it, hit Walker-Peters. West Ham play on, the referee plays on, and it's Bowen into the penalty area. He's got a man over on the right hand side, and Paqueta, he's had a lovely bend effort, it rocks the bar, comes back, and Paqueta, the danger is still on for Southampton. Cross blocked by Chileta Sarr. Southampton still have the player down in Walker-Peters. They can't get out at the moment. No free kick given for the challenge on Walker-Peters in the air by Soucek, by the way. And on we go. West Ham United on the left-hand side. Ben Rama has it. Rolls it to the left-hand side of the penalty area. Emerson cuts into the box. Stabbed away by Chileta Sarr. Declan Rice, great cries of shoot. He was 30 yards out. Plays it instead to Kehrer. Hangs across far post. Up goes Gavin Bazzuno, and a good catch by the Irish international goalkeeper. And the half-time whistle will blow imminently, I would have thought. Well, danger there, as Southampton, the game is stopped for them to get some treatment onto Walker-Peters. Good effort, wasn't it, that rocked the bar?
Yeah, it was a brilliant effort. Bowen gets away, cuts back onto his right foot. He decides to just look for that far corner. Not too much pace on it, more precision. Just gets it slightly wrong, hits the bar, but do you know what, if he got his head up after he cut back in on his right foot, Paqueta was making a fast stick run. He could have played it into his feet. He'd have been one-on-one with Bazzuno. A much easier chance. Don't think he quite spotted him, and went very, very close to scoring.
Scored in the last game, the 4-0 win against AEK. Cyprus to take them through to the next round of the conference. They'll play Ghent, in place in the semi-finals. Look at the games they've got. I reckon they've got good 12 points in them. West Ham, which will take them to 36 in the table. You look at Southampton. We all play this game, don't we? They can win that one, they'll get a draw in that one, and so on and so on. I think they can get to 34. 35 will keep you up, I think, in the Premier League this year. The average over recent years has been 36. I think 35.
Yeah, whenever we set out at a football club, you'd always work on a point a game. If you could get a point a game, that would usually keep you in the Premier League.
Just be below that this season. A lot of teams will take points off each other. High ball forward then for Southampton. We're deep in stoppage time now. Lavia's headed to the right-hand touchline. Armstrong brings it under control. Has a look. Got a runner up down the line in Walcott. Pulls it back then to Walker-Peters, who's okay now. Into his own half he finds big Jan Bednarek. Bednarek, the Polish international, just dwells on the ball. There's no movement up front for them at all. They trail 1-0. Back again it comes then to Jan Bednarek. They both in Poland's recent game. Both of Poland's recent games. Now he finds Mara. Back to Shaleta Tsar, and there's the half-time whistle. West Ham United 1 to the good. Took a while before it was confirmed, but Aguer's goal gives them that 1-0 lead left.
Yes, it does, and in all fairness, it was against the run of play, because Southampton started this game much better. They were on the front foot, they were controlling and dictating the play, didn't really create too much. Off the back of that, Southampton get a free kick. Aguer gets his head on it, and all of a sudden it's 1-0. The mood's lifted around the Olympic Stadium, and from that point on, West Ham looked to stretch that lead, hitting the bar. But it goes in 1-0 at half-time.
Southampton look like a team at the moment that have scored, I think it's just 6 goals in their last 6 games in all. They're shot shy, and they're 1-0 down at the break, Steve.
Glenn, before we talk about the goal itself, the timing was absolutely huge, because the two of you made the point in commentary. You know, after 25 minutes, it was already starting to sound a little bit toxic from the home fans before the goal went in.
Yeah, I think that's probably a bit harsh, the word toxic, but there was groans of unhappiness, definitely, and it was only going to get worse and worse. They were trying to play through, they couldn't find the passes, they were having to go long. Southampton's game plan was working exceptionally well. They just couldn't really create anything. They got in a lot of good good areas, but couldn't quite work something of anything to have a shot on goal or question Fabianski. But yeah, like you say, the timing of the goal was imperative. I mean, it was a ball into the box. Aguer gets his head on it. It was a brilliant header. Had to wait a long time. There was a lot of anxiety around the Olympic Stadium, but once that goal was given, it was a different game of football.
Jonathan, as you well know, one of the great features of the BBC Sounds app is that you can rewind the live commentary, and if you were to do that today, as I did, you would find a 3.5-minute gap between the ball hitting the back of the net and the goal being given, which, given the still that we were all looking at, is an awful long time.
Well, it was, and when we realised that it had been given for offside, although the linesman, when he flagged, didn't drop it, he should lower the flag so that it's sort of half-mast, Steve. That denotes that there's an offside in the middle of the goal. He didn't do that. His flag was high and waving. But we realised who he'd flagged it for, the goal scorer. Now, as soon as the replay came on our little monitor, and it is postage stamp, by the way, the monitor, but we realised Aguer's onside. We could see it. And that took, 1 minute? Yeah. And you're saying it took 3.5 minutes. If it took 3.5 minutes, they can't be sure. If they can't be sure, then they go with the referee's decision. And the referee's decision initially was to give it a goal, and it was the linesman who didn't give it. It just took far too long for the paying public.
And I suppose in defence of the officials, there have been errors made in drawing the lines at times this season. So with so many players in the box, I suppose what they wanted to do was make absolutely sure. And in the end, it was the right decision. It was onside, and West Ham lead Southampton by a 1-0. Jonathan Pearce and Glenn Murray commentary team will be back for the second half. Of course, England in action in the Women's Six Nations this afternoon, taking on Italy. Simon Middleton's side looking to build on that big 58-7 win over Scotland on the opening weekend. And Nicola Goodwin is there for us.
And Marley Packer captains the side from open side this afternoon, with vice-captain Zoe Oldcroft at number 8, following Sarah Hunter's retirement after that time-try victory over Scotland last week. England had never lost against Italy in their their 16 previous encounters, and despite the continued improvements from today's opposition, we're expecting another high score here at Northampton's Franklin's Gardens. Italy are running out in front of me. The sun is shining. The 14,000 strong crowd are in fine voices, you can hear. They are eager for a trifesta rugby this afternoon.
That one's underway at 3 o'clock. You can watch it as well on BBC Two. Also underway in the next few minutes, Saracens Ospreys in the European Champions Cup. Live commentary on Sports Extra with James Burridge and Chris Ashton. Ospreys have already beaten the French champions Montpellier and the English champions Leicester, so it's going to be a tough afternoon for Saracens.
The top line is that Owen Farrell is fit. He's recovered from the ankle injury he picked up last weekend against Harlequins. The starting 15 unchanged, both Vunipola brothers included. The Ospreys, well, they brought 11 starting internationals. Tipperick, Alan Wynne-Jones, Rhys Webb, George North, to name a few. Their first appearance in the knockout stages since 2010. And given the upheaval in Welsh rugby financially right now, a number of players still out of contract at the end of the season, it feels like this is their last chance to produce something special in Europe.
James Burridge will bring you commentary on Sports Extra. The other game in the competition's gone to extra time. It's currently Exeter Chiefs 26, Montpellier 26. There's one match in Super League about to get underway this afternoon as well. It's Huddersfield at Salford. That's where we find correspondent Dave Woods.
Yeah, Salford 3 wins from 6 this season, capable of beating anyone on the day, and they are electrifying to watch at times, but unlucky losers at Wigan last week. Huddersfield come here on the back of 2 narrow defeats against Saints and Wigan. You'd expect them to be involved in the playoff race at the end of the year, so this could be very tight and very entertaining today.
Dave, thank you very much. Elsewhere today in the WSL, massive result at the top of the table. Arsenal beat Manchester City by 2-1. It's currently Everton 1, Tottenham 1. That game is in its closing stages. Later, West Ham play Liverpool at 5 o'clock. Chelsea face Aston Villa. There's full commentary of that game from 6 p.m. on 5 Sports Extra. On Brendan Rodgers, who has left Leicester City this afternoon, a statement here from the chairman, Ayawa Srivannaprabha, says the achievements of the team under Brendan's management speak for themselves. We've experienced some of football's finest moments under his guidance. We will always be grateful. However, performances and results have been below our shared expectations. Regrettably, the desired improvement has not been forthcoming. With 10 games of the season remaining, the board is compelled to take alternative action to protect our Premier League status. So I know people use the phrase, mutual consent, but Brendan Rodgers has clearly been sacked as manager of Leicester City. We'll have more on that, and we'll be at St James's Park for the first time as well, ahead of Newcastle, Manchester United. Full commentary of that at 4:30. All of that to come after the news with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Steve. The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, has rejected suggestions that Brexit is to blame for long delays at the port of Dover. Labour is accusing the government of failing to plan for more paperwork checks, as some coaches that arrived yesterday were still there this morning. Our correspondent Simon Jones is in Dover.
If you come through the port on a coach, each passenger has to get off that vehicle and then show their passport to the French authorities, because the French do their checks here on British soil and have their passport stamped, and that is adding to the length of time it's taking to get all these passengers through.
The BBC has been told there are positive updates in the case of the British men arrested by the Taliban in Afghanistan. It's understood 2 of them have been able to speak to their families for the first time since their arrest in January. The government say negotiations are taking place to secure their release. A 4-year-old girl has been taken to hospital after falling from a window of a home in Aberdeenshire. Police Scotland say an investigation is now underway. Her condition is unknown. Pope Francis has held Palm Sunday Mass at the Vatican just a day after being discharged from hospital following treatment for bronchitis. The 86-year-old appeared before worshippers in St. Peter's Square. And a senior French politician is being criticised by some for appearing on the cover of the adult magazine Playboy. Marlene Schiappa has defended her decision to take part in the photo shoot and interview on women's rights. Critics, though, say it sends the wrong message at a time of widespread unrest in France.
Why is it called a smart speaker? Because it's smart. You ask it to do something and it'll be done. Just say, smart speaker, ask BBC Sounds to play your favourite music mix. Oh, that's nice. Or you can say, ask BBC Sounds to play that brand new podcast. Ooh. And you can even ask BBC Sounds to pause, rewind and restart live radio on your smart speaker. if only everything in life was that simple. For music, radio and podcasts, on most smart speakers, just say, Smart Speaker, ask BBC Sounds.
5 Live's Premier League Sunday.
With Steve Crossman.
West Ham 1, Southampton 0. Second half commentary underway in the next minute. Bolton, Plymouth at Wembley in the final of the Papa John's Trophy. Henry Moran.
Good afternoon, Steve. A special day for both of these promotion-chasing League One clubs. They play in front of over 70,000 here at Wembley. 100 years ago, Bolton won the first FA Cup final to be held at the old Wembley. This is their 14th visit. Keep an eye out for Dion Charles up front. His leading scorer bagged a couple for Northern Ireland in the recent international break. Plymouth have brought over 38,000 here for what's just their third visit. This will be the biggest crowd they've ever played in front of. It is raucous here, to put it mildly. Can't wait for this one. Cracking atmosphere on a sunny afternoon in the capital.
Sounds absolutely fantastic there, and it will sound brilliant as well at St James's Park at 4:30. Huge game in the Premier League. Newcastle United against Manchester United. That's where we find correspondent John Murray and Chris Waddle, and we will come on to that, John.
Yes, it's all quiet. It's all quiet here at the moment, but everyone who is here is talking about Leicester City. Not about Newcastle United or Manchester United just at the moment.
Is it difficult to see it as a shock, despite all the achievements that I rattled through before?
It feels like it's been a long time coming, in all honesty, and obviously there were difficulties. There have been difficulties all the way through the course of this season, whether it's been financial or whether it's been with injuries. And remember very early in the season there was the whole business over Fofana, and so there was some ill feeling there around the place right at the start of the season. And looking back on it now, it feels like in some ways that kind of set the tone for what was to come. I remember very clearly there Brendan Rodgers saying that the money side was a real problem for Leicester City. They were having to balance their books at the time, and of course results haven't been what they would have wanted. I mean, they've had some great times under him. They will remember him when time passes by. They will remember him so fondly for that FA Cup final victory, and also what he did in his early days. 2 high finishes, 5th place finishes in the Premier League, but particularly that day at Wembley, winning the FA Cup for the first time, the only time in the club's history.
Great days that they had under Chris Waddle, but they're in the situation that they're in, and unfortunately you can't put that sentimentality into a decision, I imagine.
No, I think what you've got to look at is clubs can't afford to go to the Premier League. A lot of clubs will come up budget for the first season and think, but nobody would dream of Leicester going down, let's be perfectly honest, the amount of teams in the league. You look at the league table this year and you wouldn't have put Leicester near that bottom 3-4, so it's a surprise to me. As John said, he's had problems. I think key players have left as well. Albright and experience in the change room. Definitely Schmeichel, massive loss. Your goalkeeper, captain. He's been there for years. When he went to Nice, that was a very strange move when I looked and saw that. And as John said, they've had financial difficulties in transfer markets. He's brought players in. Whether the standard of what they're used to, I don't think they are. But I think Brendan Rodgers has done a very good job with the players he's had to work with and what he's been available to say. I think he's done a very good job, and I'm surprised that, to be honest, they got rid. But how many teams have pressed the panic button this season, and there's a lot of them. They cannot afford to drop out of this league.
Yeah, we're just having a look, Steve. I think it's 11 now. So over half of the teams in the Premier League have sacked their managers this season.
And every team, John, from Bournemouth down, apart from West Ham in the Premier League table at the moment.
That's right, yes. And I think you look at the games that Leicester have got left, and I was actually wondering this week, have we reached the cut-off point where now clubs will actually stick with what they've got? But clearly the answer to that is no. And a large part of that is the fact that it doesn't matter which fixture list you look at of whatever team it is down there in that part of the table, it's absolutely jam-packed full of games that you would call must win. And, that's the case for Leicester is the same as it is for everyone else. Aston Villa at home on Tuesday night, then Bournemouth at home on Saturday are their next two.
A year ago, Newcastle weren't a million miles away from these kind of conversations, but times have very much changed, John Murray, and, this is a huge game for them, of course it is, and for Manchester United.
Yes, it is, and they've steadied things, Newcastle, since that run of 3 defeats in a row, which of course included the Carabao Cup final just 35 days ago when Manchester United beat them there. But they've won their last 2 matches against Wolves and Nottingham Forest, and the result of that, plus Manchester United dropping points, is that today, when Casemiro, who is suspended again and was so important in the Cup final, if Newcastle United win this, they go above Manchester United and Tottenham in the Premier League table.
And such is the importance of Casemiro or Chris Waddle that even in that League Cup final that Manchester United really won comfortably. His absence, is that above all others in terms of the absence of one player and the impact it can have on them?
No, I think he makes Man United, it balances the team well. He screens the centre halves, he can come and play in midfield, he joins in, he keeps the ball moving. Listen, he's been playing at Real Madrid for years. He's a very, very top professional footballer, and he will be a miss. But on the other side of it, McTominay say if he plays, well, he's banging form. He's scoring goals for Scotland. He'll be full of confidence. And I've always said with players, when you train with good players, learn from them. And if you don't, there's something wrong with you. Now, McTominay, yes, he's been at Man United a long time. He's seen and played with some great Man United players, but he should be looking at Casemiro in training and reading what he does and trying to think, and asking questions about things. And this is how you learn. It's not about coaches all the time. Sometimes you learn from other players. So, McTominay come today should be full of confidence, and they'll be thinking, well, we might miss Casemiro, obviously, but not as much as you think.
John, Chris, thank you very much for the time being. A 94th minute goal for Everton, who've beaten Tottenham by 2-1 in the WSL. Second half is about to get underway at the London Stadium, but we've had a goal at Wembley, Henry.
Just 4 minutes gone. Bolton Wanderers have the lead. Cross of the back post from the corner. Kyle Dempsey rising highest to nod it home. Back across goal. It's Bolton 1, Plymouth 0.
West Ham players just beginning to emerge from the tunnel there. Manager David Moyes has been under pressure, of course, throughout this season. Southampton couldn't capitalise on the unease at the London Stadium in the early stages. This is a huge 45 minutes in both of their Premier League seasons. Glenn Murray is with Jonathan Pearce.
Thanks very much, Steve. Out come West Ham United then. Southampton's players were out around about 90 seconds ago, waiting for West Ham to emerge. Can't see any signs of a half-time substitution, just musing over whether or not the former Southampton manager Ralph Hasenhüttl would now come into the reckoning to replace Brendan Rodgers, or whether Rafa Benitez would, because he's been linked with West Ham United, and so the machinations will turn between now and the end of the season. But Brendan Rodgers, that's the big news this afternoon in the world of Premier League football, has departed Leicester City. West Ham United kick us off and underway. The bubbles blown by the big machines down on pitch side are just filtering away through the rather warm spring air. I'm warm anyway. Glenn Murray's just raised eyebrows. Lovely blue skies overhead, and with the white clouds, and it's going to be Southampton kicking from left to right in this second half then, who need to come back from this goal down. West Ham with Fabianski in goal, then Kira Zuma, Aged and Emerson, the back four. Aged's header separating the sides. Souček and Rice in midfield. Bowen, Paqueta and Benrahma, the supporting forwards behind Danny Ings. The Saints, Gavin Bazzuno in goal. Then you've got Walker-Peters, Bednarak, Chaleta Tsar, cautioned in the first half, and Perrault had a good attempt. Lavia and Ward-Prowse holding in midfield. And then you've got Armstrong wide on the right. Elyounoussi wide-ish on the left, though he has cut in several times, going narrow, allowing Perrault to come forward, and then Walcott and Mara the front two. Do we see enough in that first half, Southampton, for you, Glenn, to suggest they can come back into this?
Well, in terms of possession and intent, yes, but as far as shots on target go, they only asked one question of Fabianski, and that was Perrault from a cross shot, and it was a really good save, but they need more. They look a little bit blunt in attack, and can't help but that they've missed their main goal scorer, Che Adams, this afternoon.
Everton have beaten Tottenham in the WSL, by the way. Aggie Beaver-Jones got the winning goal. It won 2-1. It was 4 minutes into stoppage time. Here's Carl Walker-Peters for Southampton into the heart of midfield. Lavia, who's been busy in there, but a lot of his passes have gone square out wide to the fullback if he's on, and he tried to find Walker-Peters there again. Strong challenge on the England international, and he'll take the throw in. The former Tottenham player who's missed games this season, was out for a month early in 2023 with a hamstring, had that injury from October through to Christmas as well. Armstrong down the line. Walcott was there, wouldn't come through to him though. Now Rice intercepts for West Ham. Very, very tight, try to find Benrahma, and the ball rolls out of play for a throw-in to Southampton.
I was actually just looking at the Premier League table at half-time and taking it in a little bit, and that has propelled, well, this would, should I say, propel West Ham up to 14th. just above Forest and Bournemouth, all on the same points, 27, but they've got a far superior goal difference, -9, compared to Forest and Bournemouth's -20 and -27 and -28 respectively.
They still have a game in hand. You have Newcastle here in the week, then they go to Fulham, who seem to be fading a little bit. The suspension and earlier injury to Mitrovic hasn't helped them. Then there's the European game, sandwiched between the two ties, Arsenal here. Always a feisty affair, that one. Now Lavia has it. On an angle, he finds Walker-Peters plodding into the West Ham half, right-hand side, yard in from the touchline, turns back again. Red number 2 on his white shirt, back then towards Romeo Lavia. And now Chileta Tsar has it, left-hand side of the Southampton defence, over the halfway line, plays in tight towards Walcott, dropping deep, back again to the Southampton. There's nothing wrong with this sort of football from Southampton.
No, but you've got to be a little bit more penetrative, you've got to create opportunities, but I'm just looking at the West Ham lineup, and it looks like Souček's gone a little bit higher, and it looks almost like a 4-4-1-1 now, doesn't it? Souček seems to be the highest midfielder for West Ham, which is quite surprising, given Ben Rama and Paqueta in there.
Yeah, and Rama and Bowen dropping sort of deeper. And Paqueta certainly dropping deeper. Here is Souček. Maybe they've played him higher to hold the ball up. He failed to do it. Mara into the penalty area. Walcott's got goal side momentarily, Vaga, but he got goal side because he was offside. And that's going to be a free kick for West Ham United. Lead 1-0, 5 Live on the BBC.
So far, West Ham will be very happy with how this game's panning out. In total control. Southampton don't look like there's many goals in them. West Ham just need to see this out. Keep a clean sheet, you get 3 points.
Goal at Wembley, the Papa John's Trophy final. Bolton led 1-0 the last time we were with Henry Moran.
They now lead 2-0. It's a brilliant goal down the right-hand side, working it across goal, and there was Dion Charles, leading scorer, 19th of the season. Bolton 2, Plymouth 0.
With Plymouth's first visit to Wembley Stadium, and as Henry was saying a while back, I think Bolton have been there 14 times now. It's Southampton attacking on their left-hand side. Perrault again coming forward willingly. In comes across just too high for Walker. He's edged it on into the penalty area. Armstrong chops it back to the far post. Elianusi arriving. Good defending there though by the right back. Kira gets it away for West Ham United. Paqueta far side, left-hand side for West Ham. Oh, he squeezed a lovely little nutmeg through. With a little sort of back heel flick to get the danger away, but Southampton come back. Ward-Prowse is Armstrong 10 yards outside the box, plumb dead centre, finds Walcott right-hand corner of the penalty area. Back it goes to Walker-Peters, little chip into the penalty area. Armstrong tried to force it on, Aged blocks and just scoots it out of play for a Southampton throw-in, and their fans at that end of the ground away to our right-hand side respond. One of them standing down there in both the lower tier and in the upper tier of the ground, and it'll be cleared away now for West Ham United by Declan Rice. It is a stadium where there's huge disconnects all round, because the Athletic Stadium, of course, and then they filled in with the lower tiers, originally temporary seating, and there are big gaps. It is one of the strangest football grounds I've ever been to. It's not a football ground, of course, but it's trying to grow into one, better than it was. That's a foul for West Ham United, but the referee says play on. And when West Ham United fans generate an atmosphere here, it can be cacophonous. And they've got a chance now to raise their voices. Oh, it just wouldn't go. Stick with Ben Rama. A mistake by Ben Rama. Misjudged the flight of the ball. Missed his kick, but it's out of play for a throw-in. Still a West Ham United advantageous position here. Let's go to the Women's Six Nations and England against Italy. Nicola Goodwin.
End-to-end rugby here. 2 tries for England from Jess Breach and Abby Dow, but Italy came back with one of their own from Sales Sara Tunasi. It's England 12, Italy 5.
England having won their opener against Scotland, 58 points to 7. Southampton are going to make a substitution here any moment now, and it's going to be Carlos Alcaraz who's going to come on for them as West Ham United look for Souček. That's why he's up there, Glenn. It's nothing. It's not rocket science, is it? What they want him to do? It's just lifted forward for him.
Yeah, no, it's not rocket science. He's got a big physical presence, and they're going to try and use his aerial abilities up against the 2 Southampton centre-backs and give them a bit of a platform to build on, and It's working at the moment.
Here's Ben Rama attacking down the left. West Ham chipped to the far post. Chileta Sarr got there, read it, headed it away. Danger momentarily over. The back come West Ham United, leading by a goal to 0 on 5 Live. Ben Rama tucks it infield, 4 or 5 yards to Emerson. Back to Ben Rama. Line adjacent to the edge of the Saints penalty area. In comes his cross. Away by Chileta Sarr with a big left foot volley, sort of thigh-high volley it was, to get the danger away to Walcott. He pushes it back to Armstrong. Busy work on the Saints' right-hand side, but they can't keep possession. They can't string 3-4 passes together, and the opportunity has gone, and West Ham get it back then towards Fabianski in his penalty. Closed very quickly by Sekumara. Good injection of pace to force the goalkeeper to clear it away, and as a result it's just a West Ham United throw-in on the halfway line. Going to make 2 substitutions here, Southampton. The other substitute coming on is Kamaldeen Sulemana. So Carlos Alcaraz will come on, centre midfield player or a right midfield player, and he will... Well, Eni Nusi is one of the players going off, and Sulemana is coming on, and Mara is going off to be replaced by Alcaraz. So there's your 2 substitutions for Southampton, and we'll just wait and see how they line up after that. And while we can just muse over that, we'll go to the Super League, and a man who once took me for a drink in Wigan, and all I can explain to people is Dave Wood's friend in Wigan had hollow legs. He had hollow legs, Dave Woods. You're up at Huddersfield Giants, Salford Red Devils.
I'd love to describe your wallet from that night as well, Jonathan, but didn't get a glimpse. I think Salford 0, Huddersfield 6. Latest score. Didn't see this one coming. Salford's Mark Sneed passed, went to ground. Ashton Golding of Huddersfield picked it up, jogged in from 10 metres. The goal's got over from Russell, and Huddersfield lead here by 6 points to 0.
And I still have those white fivers, actually, Dave, but one day they'll see the light of day. Now here's Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse for Southampton. In then to Armstrong. West Ham leading by a goal to 0. Soucek. Oh, he's lost possession there as Lave put him under pressure. Good work by Rice to win it back for West Ham United once and twice to put him to deny Armstrong. Now Ings trying to switch it away to Bowen. It's all a little bit muddled. There's no pattern of play, no great passing movements going on. West Ham United leading by a goal to 0. I think that in itself pattern of misjudged passing is because of the importance and the tension in the game, Glenn.
Yes, and that's only going to get more as we get close to the final whistle if it stays the way it is, but can't help but feel that if one side can just string a few passes together.
Chileta Sarr under pressure there. Bowen was screaming up behind him and he just got it away. Desperate. If he's misjudged that, if he's caught the West Ham United play, he'd have been off. He's already on a yellow. And West Ham have lost their way, and this is a good spell here for Southampton now.
Really positive changes from the manager.
Sulemana with a direct run into the West Ham United penalty area, but he forgot the ball, and West Ham clear. Soucek to Bowen, 10 yards inside his own half, releases Ings, looking suspiciously offside. Flag stays down for the moment. He's running here against Bednarak. Needs support. 4 Southampton defenders back now. Is Bowen in support of Ings? Gets the left-hand side, gets the shot away, side netting, and the flag stayed down, you know.
Yes, and Danny Ings just hangs his head in the middle of the penalty area because he knows he maybe should have done better with that. He was bearing down on goal, just couldn't quite move the defender. He was feinting the ball, trying to get the big defender to move. He couldn't quite get him out of the way, and all of a sudden the cavalry arrived and the chance had just slipped away.
Southampton looked better after the substitutions, that's for sure. Here's Walker-Peters, back to Ward-Prowse. Crucial time in the game, 56 minutes gone. West Ham United leading by a goal to 0, up to 14th at the moment in this very, very tight, topsy-turvy relegation rat race. Walker-Peters now to Ward-Prowse, had to stretch, lost possession. Soucek was on him very, very quickly. West Ham have it with Paqueta, but he looked sloppy, he looked a little bit slow. He was caught in possession. Here's Sulemana now, the shot ripped across the turf but wide of goal. It's a goal kick.
Sulemana just gets away there, puts it through the West Ham player's legs. Only has one thought, and that's the hit. A shot just off target, but intent from Southampton much, much better from the 11 out there after the changes. Ruben Sellers is out there. He's in deep conversation with one of his backroom staff of how he can affect this game more. He looks back towards the bench, which is quite a way away. And when manager out there in the touchline, they normally look back and be able to get a bit of feedback from the bench, but I think it's about 40 yards away. He's the rest of the backroom staff, and it's not ideal, I don't think.
It's an Olympic shot put away from the seats in the dugout. So I was told when the stadium was set up. He's a good 200 yards away from us, I would say, Glenn, wouldn't you?
Yeah, easy, yeah. What would you say about 4, Ryan?
It's a rasping Glen Murray drive away from us, I would say.
I don't know, I'm not sure I could kick it straight, to be honest.
It's 1-0 to West Ham. Inks tried to spin, lost his way. Armstrong got the challenge in. Southampton clear away then towards Walcott, now very much leading the line with Armstrong in support on the right, Alcaraz tucked in into the central supporting role, and Kamaldeen Sulemana on the left-hand side. The Ghanaian just back from their 2 games against Angola. They won at home and drew away 1-1. He started both of those games. Probably why he didn't start today. He certainly has injected something.
The young man that he's brought on, Alcaraz, I really like him in the middle of the midfield. He just seems to be pushing into more of a 10 role today, but certainly likes to let a shot off when he gets opportunity, and he's a very feisty character.
Easter is coming, and National is coming, and we'll have commentary of the Masters live from Augusta across Sports Sector and 5 Live Sport from Thursday to our preview live from Augusta on Wednesday. Mark Chapman leading the team out there. Oh dear, someone had to do it, chappers, and you got the gig. Now here's Southampton on the left-hand side. I bet he protested long and hard about that one. No. Oh, all right then. Anyway, Southampton have it on their left. They trail by a goal to nobody into the West Ham United penalty area. They go, and it's again a good burst up from Perrault. It took a challenge by Soucek to deny him entry into the 6-yard area, but I think he's got forward very willingly.
Yeah, he has, Perrault, and he just gets that out of his feet, and it's a sliding challenge from Soucek that has to be timed perfectly. Otherwise, he'll be in danger of giving a penalty away.
Love the Masters. Love the big spring sporting events on 5 Live. In comes across the corner kick from Ward-Prowse, back-headed out of the danger by Aged. First to it is Rice, got there, lengthened his stride, took on Alcaraz on the outside, drew the foul. Look, it's not earth-shattering, it's not a 35-yard pile driver goal, but in itself, that little cameo was all about Declan Rice, and it was superb.
Yeah, it was, just striding down this near touchline to us. He's a fine specimen when he gets going. West Ham will want a little bit more out of him. They'll want him to dictate play and influence this game more, because without doubt he has got the quality.
Now a long free kick out by Aged, headed out by Chileta Sarr. First to it was Paqueta might have been fouled. The referee is playing on. We'll be at the rugby in a moment. The move breaks down, so we'll go England, Italy in the Women's Six Nations, and Nicola Goodwin.
And it's 17 points to 5, 3 tries for England, but they're not having it all their own way. Italy putting up a fierce attack here as we look at the pitch. They're just about 20 metres away from the try line. Their first try came 2 minutes after the opener from England. It's England 17, Italy 5.
England looking to make it 2 wins in 2. Wales and France have already achieved that feat. So far, Italy beaten in their opener by the French. Now here's Walker-Peters for Southampton, between the penalty box and the West Ham right-hand touchline, trying to take on his man, Drew Emerson, good fullback play that, didn't dive in, just kept a little bit of distance, blocked the cross, and it's going to be a throw-in to West Ham United. Also equally well won by the experienced Danny Ings, who went to hold it up and force the throw-in their way. And West Ham United are going to bring on Mikel Antonio any moment now. You presume, well, people might presume that would be for Danny Ings, might be for this man rising now, Soucek with the header on. Southampton pick it up, and they're the stronger team at the moment, I think, Glenn.
Yes, they are, yeah, but whether it's for Soucek, I'm not sure. I think it's worked quite well, that his physicality just going forward a little bit further, but see Lavia on the ball playing Armstrong in here.
Armstrong with the cross deflected away off Emerson, who cupped his body, got his knee to it, and got it away for a corner kick here for Southampton. All the pressure here is with the Saints. It's a huge game for them. They've got good points away from home of late. Thinking of those Manchester United and Chelsea performances, they came into the game with a little bit of a bounce as well at the bottom of the table. It is massive for both clubs. Point will do. Victory not paramount, not essential, but a real tonic. It's 1-0 to West Ham at the moment. It's Ward-Prowse with the corner kick, bending away from goal, headed through his own 6-yard area by Paqueta, driven back into goal. The keeper saw it late, got down to smother the effort from Lavia.
Yes, he did. He got it out of his feet on the far side of the box, Lavia. It looks like he's going to go back across the goal to Fabianski's left, and I think Fabianski's anticipating that, but he doesn't. He fires a low drive to his right, nearly wrong foots the West Ham goalkeeper. But Fabianski is just equal to it. On a couple of occasions he's been called on. He's been very, very neat and tidy in his play, Fabianski, this afternoon.
There's Glenn Murray on the BBC for you. 1-0 to West Ham United. Antonio still waits to come on. Now here's Alcaraz. Moves to his right-hand side to give himself time and space to get the shot away. Jinked into that space, got the shot away, comfortably dealt with. But at the moment, it's all Southampton.
Yeah, it's all Southampton. We said when he came on, Alcaraz, he likes to get shots away. Dances round a couple of West Ham players. Shot on target, bounces 4 or 5 yards before Fabianski. But again, good goalkeeping for him.
Started 4 of the last 5 games, Alcaraz, the man they brought in January from Racing Club in Argentina. He's played less than 100 games. Again, one bought for the future. This is their current model. He's 20. Bought him for 12 million. Keep him for 2 years. They can sell him off for 25, 30. It's the model now perfected by Brighton and Hove Albion. Brentford have that model as well. Teams are learning to adjust and plan now for Premier League existence, like that. Ink's got caught right on top of his head as he went to hold it up on the halfway line. He's now going to depart, and Mikel Antonio will come on. Well, they're making the change. Let's go to Wembley Stadium again. It was a good start for Bolton Wanderers against Plymouth in the Papa John's, Henry Moran.
They still lead Plymouth by 2-0, just past the 24-minute mark, and Plymouth starting to come back into it. Bolton could easily have had a third, though. Big chance. Block. Dempsey looking for a second. Good block on the goal line. Ryan Hardy for Plymouth has just come close. Furious tempo to this match. Bolton 2, Plymouth 0.
So Antonio is on for West Ham United, and Danny Ings is the man who has gone off, and Souček is still right up there with Mikel Antonio, and West Ham are attacking here with Bowen to the edge of the penalty area. Ricochets back to him, sets his sights, moves to his left, tries to get a shot away, does. It's blocked in there by Bednarak and Southampton. You get it away. Really stretched now, sorry Glenn.
Yeah, they're the moments. Bowen, 2 opportunities, 2 bites of the cherry. Comes back, he has another goal, opens the goal up. Can't quite get it past the Southampton defence.
Bowen into the penalty, in comes his cross. It's squeezed away by Walker-Peters. The cross, I think, was aimed at Souček, who was in the middle. It's a throw to West Ham. This is what this ground can be like. Now listen to it. We had the boos in the first half an hour. Now West Ham United fans really behind their side.
And as we approach the last 25 minutes of this game, it's really starting to open up for both teams. Gaps appearing at the back, people trying to make amends, and Bowen's one of them.
In the WSL, Leicester City 1, Reading 0. Santini with the Leicester goal moves them off the bottom of the WSL table. I think Brighton will be the team at the bottom. Just check on that for you. But Brighton have changed their manager a couple of times this season, of course. Now, West Ham United are going to make another change. Yeah, Brighton would be bottom of the table with 9 points. Leicester will go above them with 10. Flynn Downs is going to come on now for West Ham United. Midfield player, signed last summer from Swansea City. He was there about a season. He's a former Ipswich player, went out on loan to Luton Town. He's had 4 league starts for West Ham United, but has played a regular role off the bench this campaign. Big West Ham fan, by the way. That's a free kick against the Hammers as Souček turned Lavia. They are not out of this game at all. Southampton at 1-0 down. They could easily come back into it and level and go ahead, you know. It's that sort of a match.
Yeah, it's in the balance at the moment, isn't it? West Ham pushing for that second goal. Like I say, gaps starting to open up, but Southampton very much in it, especially from shots outside the area. Can't really seem to create anything of any means inside the 18-yard box, but they are a constant threat.
Free kick 50 yards out. Ward-Prowse into the box, climbing and trying to get the ball headed square was Jan Bednarak. He towered above Aged, but just couldn't turn the header square, and he plods back into his own half, and Flynn Downs is going to come on for West Ham United, and the man he will replace is number 28, Thomas Souček. So it's midfielder for midfield. He's been blowing hard in the last 4 or 5 minutes, Soucek. I'm not too sure Flynn Downs is the type of player to play the role that Soucek was being asked for in the second half.
No, maybe a slight change in formation again. Maybe shoring it up a little bit. He might just slot in next to Declan Rice and have more of a 4 and a 2 and let the forward players on the field now, Benrahma, Antonio, Paqueta and Bowen, just go and just give them that reassurance behind.
Just past the midway mark in the second half on 5 Live. 1-0 West Ham United. We're in the last quarter of the game then. Cleared away by Fabianski, looking for Antonio, but one in the air by Bednarak. Very, very fine margins between so many teams at the bottom of the table for so many reasons. Ability-wise, lack of form, bit of bounce, but fine margins here on the pitch. The 1 goal in the first half. Now Paqueta tries to release Benrahma, headed away by Bednarak. Centre-half position for Southampton with the orange boots, gets it away the pole. Squirted forward by Armstrong on the halfway line, but Aguerd imperiously comes forward and drives on for West Ham United. He's already covered 20 yards inside that Southampton half, pushes it out wide to Benrahma, the left side forward, and he crashes his cross off the knee of Kyle Walker-Peters, and West Ham United have a corner at 1-0 up.
I must say, JP, on the afternoon, Aguerd's been absolutely outstanding, both defensively and attacking, getting the only goal to separate the teams at the moment, but been a constant threat in both boxes.
Corner kick for West Ham United. On their left, Emerson will take it, so he will curl this away from goal. Southampton are about to make another change down there. Can't quite see who they're going to bring on. Might be Paul Onuachu. It's going to be a corner kick by Emerson, headed on the edge of the 6-yard area. Rice was in there. Zuma couldn't make contact. Comes out. Bowen tried his luck. Shot slammed into the box. Blocked, and Southampton clear over the halfway line, 60 yards. Straight all the way back to Fabianski.
Hanging on at the moment. Bowen's starting to get shots on target at will. One falls to him there. Gets good purchase on it. Just can't quite beat the crowd in front of him.
A couple of Southampton substitutions. No, it's Joe Aribo who's going to come on, and it is Paul Onuachu is the other one. Oh no, it's Ainsley Maitland-Niles who's going to come on, I beg your pardon. And here's Fabianski, deep inside his own half. Clears, loops up towards Antonio, heads it back to Paqueta, releases Bowen into the penalty area, taking on his man. Out comes Bazzuno, dives in at his feet, gets the ball and will clear it away. Let's go for double trouble to St James's Park. Chris Waddle and John Murray up there with the team news.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, Newcastle, same teams against Nottingham Forest before the internationals. So Pope, Botman and St Maximin are all fit to start. Joe Linton is back from suspension. He's a substitute, as is Anthony Gordon. And for Manchester United, Rashford is fit to start. Varane as well. And Sabitzer, who's in the midfield. Remember, Casemiro's suspended. Dalot plays at right back with Wan-Bissaka absent, and Martial returns as a substitute.
Here's Lavia. Don't forget commentary of that kick-off at 4:30, 16:30 for you on 5 Live. Out by Zuma at the back for West Ham United. A little bit of an error by Bednarak because he went to get it away under pressure from Paqueta. It's going to be a throw-in, and it's going to be a throw-in that we'll have belatedly because they're going to make these 2 substitutions now for Southampton. On comes Paul Onuachu and Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well. Armstrong is departing. Can't see who the second one will be, who will go off. I think Theo Walcott is going to go off. He doesn't know yet. Now he does. That goes his number, and off he trots. So 4 of their substitutions made, and we'll wait and see what they can do with Paul Onuachu. 6'7", signed in January from Genk, where he had a really good scoring record, 85 in 134 games. Not this season particularly, but he's a player who does have a pedigree. Throughout his career, 164 goals in 344 games. That's worthy of merit, that.
Yeah, it is, and I'm actually surprised we haven't seen him sooner, because Theo Walcott, he's looked tired in the second half, and he's not really offered too much physicality or in behind. But this man that's come on looks quite big, 6'4". He's going to bring a lot of physicality, and it looks like he can get in behind as well. So Southampton have finally got a platform they can hit.
But it's West Ham United will have a free kick here with 18 minutes to go on 5 Live. Still the blue skies above us, the giant orbiter scaffolding thingy, Meccano thingy from the Olympics we can see poking its red metallic structure into the sky.
I thought you were going to say its ugly head.
I'm trying to be poetic with words and failing absolutely miserably. But it's going to be a free kick here for West Ham United, 2 yards in from this near touchline, and it's going to be Emerson to take the free kick. Left-footed into the box, headed away by Ward-Prowse. Southampton still in the game at 1-0, but lacking cutting edge, really. Emerson, this time it's a higher loft in from the left-hand side. Little jump on the edge of the penalty area for West Ham United. But they've won it back here, and now they can hear the ripple of applause from the fans. It was once again Aguerd who made the leap on the far side, then chased all the way back to redeem possession for them. Here's Declan Rice over the halfway line at 1-0 at West Ham. That's a fine ball over the top of Chileta. Antonio between the far touchline and the penalty area, whisks his shot through the penalty area. It whips through all the way. Not a touch. Throw into Southampton, 18 yards from the dead ball line.
West Ham getting down the right hand side there. Antonio making a good run, good understanding to play it into the channel for him, and he definitely put it in the right area, but there's no one thinking or on the same wavelength as him, and he goes between the goalkeeper and the defender right out the other side for Southampton throw-in.
West Ham United have possession. 1-0 at Emerson. Tidy ball to him by Paqueta, who was a strong challenge by Bednarak. It's going to get him a yellow card. He came out square onto the runner, and well, he didn't dive in, but he sort of energetically moved in, almost two-footed, and caught the man. It's a free kick and a yellow card.
Yeah, there's no complaints from the big Paul there. Takes him out, and a deserved yellow card, but more important than that, it's a free kick in a very, very dangerous area, actually a similar area, maybe closer in than what West Ham opened the scoring with.
Free kick here for West Ham then. It's 5 yards in from the left-hand touchline. It's only a couple of yards outside the Southampton box. Maybe 3-4 yards outside the penalty area. Emerson is striding back from the ball. Short sleeve, claret shirt, short dark hair. Runs forward. It's a dummy run. It's Benrahma with the hit. And well judged by Bazzuno. Might have seen it a little bit late, but anyway, he got there and pushed it away.
He did, Benrahma. I always felt as though he might just try and sneak it in that near post, and he did. Didn't quite get it into the top corner quite enough to trouble Bazzuno. Comfortable save.
Here's Emerson now for West Ham from the short tap corner. Lofts across far side. Zuma was there. Couldn't get over the header. Headed it over the bar. Instead, well over the bar. West Ham beginning to create a little bit, and Southampton haven't had the bounce effect they might have thought they would have had from the substitutes. Quarter of an hour to go. West Ham leading 1-0.
You're right, JP, but do you know what? West Ham, they're having a number of opportunities and they're not putting the game to bed. Southampton are still in this, and it only takes a moment.
The moment they are bottom of the table, a couple of points adrift of Leicester City, who've parted company with Brendan Rodgers today. That's the big news from off the field of play. Let's go to the AJ Bell Stadium. Dave Woods again.
33 minutes played, Salford 6, Huddersfield 8. Huddersfield extended their lead with a Russell penalty, but we've just seen Shane Wright plunging over after some rare pressure on the Huddersfield line. Sneeze kicked the goal. Salford 6, Huddersfield 8.
Southampton have possession on the far side. It's away in the distance. Chileta pulls it back to Bazzuno with his sort of red and orange goalkeeping guard and the long black sleeves to Bednarak. Finds Walker Peters. It wasn't a good ball to him. Walker Peters up then to Onuachu. Heavy touch by him. The ball rolls off his toes. Yet to score from Southampton since that big money move in January. Giant of a man. It's a throw to West Ham United down below us. Earlier on today, Celtic won in the Scottish Premiership by 2-0. WSL Arsenal beat Manchester City 2-1 to go above them in the table. Everton beat Tottenham by 2-1 with the stoppage time winner, and Leicester City lead Reading by a goal to nil. Later on, West Ham play Liverpool and Aston Villa play Chelsea. West Ham not reinventing their investment in women's football, but certainly upgrading it, if you like. Karen Brady's going to play more of a role, I believe, in that, and trying to push women's football to another level at West Ham United, which is good to see. And it's Southampton here trailing 1-0, have possession on the far side. Sulemana on Wachu's on the edge of the penalty area. Here's Perrault again. This is a good run, goes inside the fullback into the penalty area. Perrault tried to pull it back. He knew he had players waiting in the deep position, but West Ham United scramble it away. He was trying to put it back there to Carlos Alcaraz.
Yes, and it's Declan Rice it falls to, and he just swivels on it, gets it away anywhere out of danger. Goes to Southampton, and they relaunch another attack.
Walker-Peters into Ward-Prowse, having a look. He's moving right to left. 5 Live with West Ham leading by a goal to nil. What a big week of football. We mentioned the Masters, of course, and so much going on this week on 5 Live Sport. Bednarak squeezes it into Lavie. He's got room to turn, face up, find Maitland-Niles. Maitland-Niles back to Ward-Prowse, and out it comes into Walker-Peters on this near side. This is good possession play by Southampton. It ends with Alcaraz stabbing the ball out of play. Don't forget, you'll hear all the reaction to this game on the Football Daily podcast via BBC Sounds, and you can check out 5 Live Boxing with Steve Bunce. You'll get all the reaction to the AJ fight from yesterday evening, and got some live IPL cricket for you as well tomorrow afternoon from 5 to 3. Ben Stokes and Moeen Ali's Chennai Super Kings. They're playing the Lucknow Super Giants, so you can listen to that on BBC Sounds as well. It's a free kick for Southampton, and every step of the title race now surely just Arsenal and Manchester City in it. The race for Champions League football and Europe, and Brentford and Brighton still in the mix with that, and Fulham will say they're not out of it, and then down to the basement area of the table with so many teams still involved right here through into the end of May on 5 Live. The cup final in early June as well. Now here's a chance for them to get the cross in. Southampton. Sulemana plays it back then to Ward-Prowse, steadies himself, puts his foot on the ball and crosses accurately to the far post. Good header away there by Kira. The ball travels to the left-hand touchline. Southampton keep it in play, losing by a goal to nil. Lavia, that's untidy, that's a tired sort of a ball out to the left-hand touchline. Think of Pero, and Bowen can get it away. Southampton have it. Ward-Prowse in the sunshine, near side of the pitch, in dappled shadow created by the big roof of the Olympic Stadium, London Stadium. Rice stretching for a challenge on Sulemano. I think can feel aggrieved that the free kick wasn't given. The referee allowed him to go on initially. Rice has won it back. Rice finds Bowen. Left-hand touchline here now for Benrahma, for West Ham. In comes his cross. It's blocked. Rice has it back again. It's tucked out to the left-hand touchline, and Benrahma. Benrahma finds Emerson on a run inside. Emerson's cross in the end picked up by Bazunu. There was a moment of hesitation by Chileta Tsar, who didn't get the initial clearance away, nearly paid for it.
Yes, the ball's fizzed across by Emerson, cut back, and it arrives at Chileta Tsar's feet. He tries to clear it, and it literally just goes nowhere. It goes about 2 yards away from him, and the first to react is Gavin Bazunu, and the big man will be very, very thankful of that.
Bazunu just back from Irish international duty, played against the French. Good account of themselves, but were beaten. They don't want to be celebrating 1-0 defeats, they were saying after that. What a lovely ball forward for Southampton into the West Ham penalty area by Lavia, looking for Onuachu. And Fabianski saw it coming all the way.
Yes, he did. He was quick to react off his line there, Fabianski, just getting in front of the big Southampton centre forward. But you can just see, as the minutes and seconds tick by, the magnitude of this 3 points for West Ham. They're just starting to slip back and defend what they've got, which is inviting Southampton onto them.
And if they do that, the crowd here will get really edgy. Bowen has it, right side, stretches his legs, carries it to the edge of the penalty area, gets a low cross in. Oh, it's almost an own goal by Chileta Tsar. In trying to block the cross, he forced it back goalwards, and it's a splendid save by Bazunu, arcing back to push it over the bar.
Yes, it is indeed, because he has no idea as this arrives at his defender's foot. It's coming his way, but it does, and his reactions cat-like.
Good save by Gavin Bazunu. Big Dubliner. Again, only a youngster really. He's only 21, only turned 21 in February. Good investment for the future. But they need these players to blossom in the Premier League, not in that turbulent Championship where there are football games every 5 minutes, it seems. What a difficult division that is to get out of. In comes the cross then, towards the far post from the corner. Loose at the far side was Paqueta, and he skied it. Came at him very quickly, leaning off the ball, over it went.
You're right, it did come at it quickly, but his first touch was good. He just needed to re-centre himself and swings his left foot at it. He's not set. Goes all up and over the bar, but that is another opportunity. Goes begging for West Ham.
Signed for 45, signed for, well, in the end, 50 million it could be. on a contract through to June 27. There's an option for more, but I think it's fair to say that Paqueta won't be here next season if West Ham United aren't a Premier League team. And you can look around this West Ham side. You were saying this early on, weren't you, in the programme today? A number of those players won't be here if they do drop a division. Declan Rice, you would presume, wouldn't be here. Might stay. I mean, West Ham United through and through, but there will be a lot of teams leading the chase for him. It's vital they stay up. Here's Lavia now then for Southampton. Certainly one for the future. Been impressed with him today. Yeah, wants the ball.
He's been good, hasn't he? Both directions, the middle of midfield, always been an option to receive it. Always covering well.
Got there again. Dispossessed by Paqueta, who tried some sort of wonderful back heel. He ended, in the end, he looked like your uncle trying to practice a dance move at your sister's wedding and falling horribly flat on his face. And I have a particular uncle who did that once, actually, and he came a cropper just like he did. Anyway, it's through to the Southampton goalkeeper. He tried something that was very artistic and pretty, and it ended up pretty ugly there, didn't he, Paqueta?
I know that feeling.
What, the dance move at your sister's wedding?
Not quite, just being out on a football field in general.
Here's Alcaraz now. How long have we got left here? We've got 6 minutes left and a little bit for stoppage time. So plenty of time for Southampton to get back into it. Here's Maitland-Niles for them. And on by Lavia. So it's collected here by Ward-Prowse. Not quite shooting territory for him. Lots of West Ham bodies between him and goal. It's a good claim by Zuma coming out of the box to win the ball. And the pass by Alcaraz attempting to find Walker-Peters goes straight out of play. And the young Argentine looks despairing. And it's a goal kick for West Ham United.
And from up here where I'm sat, that looked like the right pass. They were just on the wrong wavelength. Alcaraz trying to penetrate that West Ham back line. Ward-Prowse staying on the safe side, wanting it to feet. Just a little bit of miscommunication, but another attack just goes dead.
West Ham United fans beginning to sing the Bubbles anthem as Fabianski clears it away, and the anthem picks up volume and rolls around this bowl of a stadium. On 5 Live, they lead by a goal to 0. Maitland-Niles couldn't control it on the right touchline for Southampton, but it's cleared away for a throw to Southampton, and we'll go back in the Women's Six Nations to Franklin's Gardens and join Nicola Goodwin.
And 5 tries for England, 2 apiece for Jess Breach and Claudia MacDonald, and 1 for Abby Dow, make it 27-5 at half-time. Italy, and not letting them have it all their own way, though.
And we'll go to the Super League. Huddersfield Giants, Salford Red Devils. Dave Woods.
Half-time, Salford 6, Huddersfield 14. Owen Trout's finish to an electrifying burst through the right centre by Kevin Nagama has given Huddersfield comfort at half-time. Salford 6, Huddersfield 14.
Now it's crossed in by Ward. Prowse is a brilliant header off the bar. Super header by Onuachu. He's not going to get the rebound, and it's over by Walker-Peters in Southampton, so close to an equaliser.
So very close, Southampton. It's Ward-Prowse. He gets time and the ball, gets his head up, puts a wicked ball across. The big man meets it onto the bar, but that's what he brings. Onuachu, physicality in the box, and that's what they've lacked all game. They've got in good areas, but no one to cross the ball to. This time, first 2, it hits the bar, asking questions as this game ticks towards the 90th minute.
Very tense. 4 minutes to go. Bottom 2 before the day started. West Ham United will be 14th if it ends like this. But there will be no respite in this relegation rat race. It'll trundle on to the next games. Southampton against Manchester City next weekend at St Mary's, and West Ham United here against Newcastle in the week, and it's a free kick to the Ajax. The Hammers, and they're just about to bring on another substitution any moment now. Pablo Fornals is going to come on for the midfield player. Is Aaron Cresswell going to come on as well? The left back. Anyway, here's Ben Rama to take on Walker-Peters. Claims the throw, but it goes Southampton's way despite his consolation. Cresswell's going to come on as well for West Ham United, so a double substitution for them, and they'll take some time out to do this. Paqueta will go off, and on will come Fornals. Listen to the applause for Paqueta. They want him to do well. They understand the talent he's got. They want him to do well here. Cresswell coming on as well. Emerson has been replaced. Well, he wasn't fully fit. And it's left back for West Ham United. I can sense they want Paquetá to do well. He's a very, very good player, and it's tough for him to come into a struggling team. Came here knowing that this was a team that nearly went all the way in Europe last season, expected them to be top 7, top 8. It's been a struggling year.
Yes, it has, and like you say, the reception he got as he left the field of play there, they do want him to do well, they're willing him to do well, but with a price tag like he's got, you can't help but feel he's got to do more.
Initial 36.5 million rising to 50 million. Big millstone around his neck, isn't it? As West Ham United look to break away on the far side now. Fornells holds it up, now releases in the middle. Antonio, a little bit of space, checks back to his right-hand side. Bednarak got a vital touch. Antonio is still there. Fornells is arriving, in comes across, looking for Benrahma. Antonio back to goal on the edge of the 6-yard area, smothered by Southampton players, and still forces the corner kick as the ball looped up in the air and Bazunu couldn't keep it in play.
When he was in there, he just checked back across Bednarak. I thought he was going to strike it. He doesn't. He lays it off. Ball comes back in and he seems to juggle it. He's got 3 or 4 Southampton defenders around him and none of them can actually take it off. Antonio, such a big physical presence, powerful man, and he eventually wins a corner.
Corner kick for West Ham United. In the last 75 seconds, though, there will be a chunk of stoppage time. Bowen will take it. Agued's on the edge of the 6-yard area. His goal separates the sides, of course. Antonian on the goal line. Zuma's in there as well. Looks for Agard far post, and it's gone all the way through, and that'll trickle out of play for a goal kick for Southampton. And we'll go to Wembley Stadium. Bolton Wanderers against Plymouth Argyle in the Papa John's Trophy final. Henry Morat.
And Bolton 2, Plymouth 0, 2 goals in the first 10 minutes from Dempsey and Charles doing the business. Could have been, should have been more for Bolton. Plymouth have grown into the game but struggled to create many chances. Half-time, Bolton 2, Plymouth 0.
Now Southampton will bring it away with Lavia. Touches the ball to the right touchline. Ward-Prowse scoots it backward a square. Bednarak to his left-hand side, 5 yards away is the tall, brooding figure of Duce Chiletazza. Into Lavia. Southampton in possession, in controlled possession, but when they finally get frustrated, it's all the way through into the West Ham half. Deep ball, looking for Onuachu. Aged stretched. His header gave a moment of anxiety because instead of knocking it back directly to Fabianski, it sort of went backward a square to his right. And Fabianski came and gathered it in the end. And we've got a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time. How many substitutions? 6? 30 seconds each? Roughly right then. Bowen dispossessed by Perrault, stabs it away out of play for a throw in. West Ham fans think that Perrault's arms were all over Jarrod Bowen, but the assistant referee was no more than a yard away.
Can't help but feel that West Ham are just limping towards a massive 3 points here. I wouldn't say they've been the better team.
In comes the throw. Chiletazza heads it away. Very little to choose between the two sides. Southampton hit the bar moments ago through Onuachu, of course. Bowen hit the bar in the first half for West Ham. We'll have a throw, and they're just trying to send the sands of time seeping away. We've had a minute of stoppage time on 5 Live. Thoroughly enjoyed being here with Glenn in the warm East London spring sunshine. It's warm, Glenn Murray. Warm.
My fingertips don't feel warm right now.
Well, yeah. Possibly one of the game's best players on an angle with the ball to Walker Peters, sold short and cleared away by Aaron Cresswell. Great roar went up for Aaron Cresswell, such a popular West Ham United player, and the final whistle goes and the roar is even greater because the roar signals that West Ham United have got an absolutely precious win here. They extend their unbeaten run in all competitions to 4 games. They've beaten Southampton with a goal in the first half, a header by Naif Aguerd. It was eventually given after VAR took so long to give it. It was scratchy, it was nervy, and I'll tell you what, Southampton didn't do badly in defeat, but they've been defeating Glenn.
Yes, they have indeed, and a massive 3 points for West Ham here. Didn't play that well, very anxious stadium. But you know what? They got that 1 goal and they held on to it. Southampton, on the other hand, will be very disappointing going away with nothing from here. But there'll be positives to take from there. performance when Ruben Sellers sits down and the emotion's gone out of it. I think moving forward we might see a bit more of Onuachu, who came on and gave them a physical platform up front.
Not about quality at the moment, it's about quantity. Quantity being in points, and West Ham have 3. They've beaten Southampton by a goal tonight.
Their 6th home win of this Premier League season, the same number as Chelsea, the same number of Fulham. They've got difficult games to come here, Glenn Murray, but if they do stay up this season, the London Stadium is where it's happening.
Yeah, massively so. And listen, today wasn't a good performance. They got the job done, but they weren't the West Ham that we've seen previously, or that the 11 that started the game should produce week in, week out. But listen, 3 points, that's all that matters at this stage of the season. The predicament they're in, 3 points by hook or by crook, that's all they need, and they got it. And it's a little bit of weight lifted around here.
In one moment, one full-time whistle, Glenn, they go from 19th to 14th. Now, we all know how incredibly close it is down at the bottom, but that just highlights what you've just said. It doesn't matter. From now on in, it does not matter how well you play. Limping over the line takes you over the line.
Yeah, without doubt, it does, and that is what's called for at this stage of the season. It doesn't matter how they come. I mean, even if you get a couple of own goals, it does not matter. 3 points are so important, or any point, should I say, in the predicament they're in. And you say, yes, they have risen to 14th, but it's a very insecure 14th. It could change drastically in only a matter of games. I mean, they're so tight together, the teams at the bottom. But whenever they've been asked questions over here against other relegation candidates, they've come up trumps and they've produced the goods.
What do you make of Southampton's performance, Jonathan, overall? And I know, like we've just said, the points are the only thing that matters, but a couple of centimetres lower on a header and they'd be leaving with one.
Yeah, and they didn't start badly either. You know, they pressed West Ham United really high and energetically in the first half hour, but they just didn't have any sort of a cutting edge. They've got 6 goals in the last 8 games in all competitions, and you're absolutely right. Onuachu's header that hit the bar late on. Alcaraz had an opportunity, the goalkeeper's made a save there, and I thought Lavia played really well in midfield, lots of energy for him. Maybe they'll start with Paul Onuachu up front in future weeks. Silamana looked bright when he came on. There really wasn't a lot between the two teams. I think, you know, Steve, there'll be a surprise along the way from Southampton on the way, and people are looking at the games, you know, they're expected to lose, like Man City at home. Well, hang on, they've beaten them already in the Cup this season, in the Cup. Arsenal away. You know, while people will say they have to win the Forest away, they have to win the games against relegation, but I just think Southampton will pull off a surprise win here or there, and that might save them, but it's going to